Thank you, Director, for coming. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
I noted that when you were visiting with Senator Ricketts, you said that you will follow the law and the science. But let's talk about grizzly delisting, because you're doing neither. You're doing neither. So here we go. In January of 2022, that's 2.5 years ago, the state of Wyoming filed a petition with Fish and Wildlife Service to establish grizzly bears in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem as a distinct population segment that is neither threatened nor endangered, and to remove it from the endangered species list. Now, by law, your agency is required to make a determination within 12 months of receiving the application. We're now 2.5 years out from when the petition was submitted, and your agency has stated you won't have a decision until July. And further, the science established by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service decades ago proves that the grizzly has recovered and is way over population criteria. So will you, will you commit to establish and delist the greater Yellowstone grizzly bear population?
Senator Lummis, I cannot answer that question point blank as we are under litigation regarding the specific question. I do want to acknowledge your frustration and the challenge that this has taken so long, and that the Fish and Wildlife Service has not gotten this finding out in the time with which the statute says. And I also recognize that the sheer numbers, the science shows that the numbers of grizzly bears have been a success story. When the Fish and Wildlife Service once petitioned, I would back up. When I started in this job, I met one-on-one with the 3 state directors, Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming, to say, how can we find a path forward regarding grizzly bears? How can we do this together where we get to a spot where we can delist and it stand in court? And then right after that meeting, we received petitions from the state of Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming, making it very difficult for us to continue that collaborative conversation. So we were pushed right into the potential litigation.
Yeah, but potential litigation.
Which we were then sued, but which we were then Wyoming did sue us on the deadline, which we have an affidavit, well, we have a number of cases regarding grizzly bears before us right now. We have the Wyoming case. We have 3 petitions from the different states. We have an Idaho case.
So are you using our litigation, Wyoming's litigation, against you as an excuse for not following the law?
No.
When we're suing you because
Senator,
you're not following the law?
I do not mean to say that in any way.
Well, that's what it looks like. I'm going to go on with gray wolves. Following years of delay, your agency committed to issue a new final delisting rule for wolves across the lower 48 by December 2024. This after the agency has repeatedly missed the deadlines to issue defensible delisting rules that will hold up in court. Then last fall, your agency issued a $500,000 grant to an outside mediator to discuss how wolves and people can coexist. This looks like political favoritism thrown at some group to study how wolves and people can coexist after 2 decades of regulatory process, socialization of the issue, and repeated discussions. This looks like a delay tactic and a waste of taxpayer dollars to me. I want to know, can you assure me this process will not delay a delisting rule? And further, that no part of this can we coexist discussion will be part of the administrative record.
Senator Lummis, first of all, wolves are now delisted in the Northern Rockies. The Fish and Wildlife Service was challenged on that, and we we received a petition, and in this administration, we issued a decision that wolves remain delisted in the Northern Rockies.
But now you're doing this proposed national recovery plan?
Absolutely.
You announced that.
Yes.
Wolves are under the jurisdiction of the state of Wyoming.
Yes.
And now you want to expand this to
Yes.
the whole country. Oh, my
Yes.
gosh. Will
Yes.
you maintain state jurisdiction in Wyoming?
Yes, Senator Lummis, the wolf process has nothing to do with and does not impinge on the state's authorities where wolves are delisted. What we were seeing across the country was various litigation that I wanted to be able to say, time out, let's focus on the real work of wolves on the landscape, just like in the Blackfoot Challenge where I was, where we support landowners being on the land and supporting them addressing any livestock depredations. And you are far more aware than I am of the various challenges in the states that have wolves and the social tolerance and the culture wars around wolves. What I wanted this process to do was to cut through across the litigation and get to a place where wolves could have that quiet, where they remain delisted in the states where they are delisted, and we have some sort of coherent national strategy.
Well, I think it would be better to spend $500,000 studying, getting a mediator to study how people can get along and coexist with each other. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.